He's good to go.
Have you ever thought how skateboard all started? Anybody? Everybody know? Well, skateboard first started from California surfers when they got the idea of like how would they surf on the street, like on flat ground. So, according to about.com, the first skateboard started off with a wooden box or a board with roller skate wheels on it on the bottom of it, which is very strange because the wheels are very small. Companies eventually turned the wooden boards or boxes into like layers of skateboards, like layered boards, like 7 layers of boards, so it becomes thicker for like break easily. And they would call it decks instead of boards. And the California surfer likes to like skate after they surf. In 1963, the skateboard peaked of popularity. The company Jack Surf Shop started the whole like skate competitions are like downhill skating or like freestyle. Back then, like the freestyle, it was like skating, like when you're dancing ballet or like ice skating on ice or something. Like you just spin and ride around and turn. But like 2 years after that, skateboarding popularity like crashed. People thought it was just like a fad, a die out, just like hula hoops. People still skate it even though like the parts of the skateboard are hard to find and to make, so they have to like find their own boards and stuff, or roller skate wheels, put them all together. But that problem was solved in 1972 when Franklin Transversely invented like urethane skateboard wheels. The urethane skateboards are like thick, like plastic. They built thick plastic for the wheels, so like it's really to ride on the flat ground. It's not like before they used to make clay wheels. Like you get like a little pebble and you like fly 50 feet in front of you. And hurt yourself. So when the wheels were made and like skateboards were there, like there was a skate team called Cypher. 1975, in the Ocean Festival contest, Cypher team, like they show how the skateboarding could be like very low and smooth, how they ride a skateboard, the tricks on the ground, like tranny birds kinda. When they show everybody how to ride a skateboard, no one ever saw them before. And everyone started taking that from like instead of a hobby of skating to like something serious and exciting. In 1978, a new style of skate came in. It was more into the ground, like tricks off the ground exactly. The skater named Alan Gelfand invented a trick called an ollie. With tricks today, like you cannot perform any like a kick flip or a 3 flip without performing an ollie first, because you gotta get in the air. And like after the tricks were like more developed, people at the end of the 70s, people started building skate parks for they skate at, so they won't be as bored, like to skate on flat ground, cruising around everywhere. So, but people were not like, they were worried about hurting themselves, like they don't have an insurance, they get hurt because it's a very dangerous sport at the time. So they had to shut down skate parks eventually. But people still, like, didn't stop people from skating. People started doing like half pies in the back of their house, half pies, quarter pies. And then they skate like little spots, like they start skating like stairs, handrails and stuff. They just make everything, like the whole world, into their own skate park. And 80s, when the 80s came by, where the tricks are very like from like instead of from like an ollie to like instead of dancing around the skateboard, it turned to like more like flip tricks and a lot of air tricks. Like the first person ever landed like a kickflip was like Ronnie Mullen. he was the first ever doing a kickflip, and like he like invented like today if it wasn't for him, people would never thought I would do like a kickflip or tail flip. Show you. But since the street skating started becoming more like popular, like people started getting street more and more, the stairs and rail. Vert skating started like vert, and like ballet dancing started losing popularity. Because people were just like roaming the streets and finding local spots to skate. Until the X Games comes in 2000. That's when they bring back vert. Like you guys know Tony Hawk, right? Yeah. He like landed in the first 900 ever, and people's like, oh, he's like the best. But it's just vert. Because like today, people start like slowly becoming like a spectator sport. You see more like an X Games now. You see more street skating, more like vert and street are starting to come together. I prefer skating street. And people are starting to appreciate like skating more like today. It's more like a sport now, not just like something like you might see like some bad kids like just skate because they think they're so cool, but it's like they might not. Like some parents think like skating is a bad environment for their kids, but it just depends on what kind of crowd you hang out with. But skating's like becoming a really fun sport to do. Skating today was like it's a lot more different than before, but it's still evolving today. Skaters coming up with new tricks all the time, and the companies, like skate companies, like also inventing more, like trying to make a board lighter and thicker. Skateboarding has always been like a personal discovery and pushing oneself to the limit, but where will skateboard go from now? And I got a video to show like old school and new school. That's like old school. It's like ballet dancing and stuff like that. It's like ice skating. And this is like more like new school, like skate over stairs, over the rails. You can see a lot of different, right? Handrails, skating like ledges. That's actually someone's graduation.
So Julio, what did you think?
Well, I'm a skater myself, so in a way I find it interesting. But there's a lot of stuff you were kind of missing. It's too broad, I like to say. It's you could concentrate on something more pinpoint, not just skateboard itself. You can probably talk about like, yes, I heard you talk about progression. It was good. But it's still a lot of things missing, like the B-boys. I know that's like they were actually the ones that changed like street skating, and I know you were talking about that, but you should like at least mention it. Yeah, there's a lot of places where I felt like I wanted to like jump in and like explain a little too, but